Hi there, my name is Sam Michnick. I'm a college recruiter at Ross Stores, and this video recording is to tell you a little bit more about our company and the roles that we offer. So let's start with who we are. We are a $12.5 billion company. Those were our fiscal 2020 revenues. We're a publicly traded S&P 500, Fortune 500, and NASDAQ 100 company. We are ranked number 242 on the Fortune 500 list. Our CEO, Barbara Rentler, is one of 41 female CEOs to run a Fortune 500 company. And we operate two different chains, Ross Dress for Less and dd's Discounts. Ross Dress for Less is the larger of our two chains, and it's actually the largest off-pricer in the United States currently. Our annual revenue growth has really shown consistent year-over-year growth over the past 10 or so years. Of course, 2020 was a little bit different, as you can see by the chart. So due to COVID, our stores needed to close for a short period of time early in the year. So our sales will not reflect the hard work of our employees, but definitely more growth to come for 2021. We've also grown consistently in earnings per share as well. And there's a lot of other areas of growth opportunity for our company besides just an annual revenue. We open approximately 90 new stores each year to reach a total store goal of 3,000 stores. And in 2019, we promoted 26% of our buying office associates, and we've also tripled the size of our buying team to 850 associates in the past 11 years. So we really are continuing to grow our talent to really keep up with our business and company growth. So Ross offers first quality in-season name, brand, and designer merchandise in a wide variety of product categories. So we have clothing and apparel, men's, women's, and kids, accessories, footwear, home fashions. And all of our merchandise is at a 20 to 60% off department and specialty store regular prices. So a bit more about our value equation. So price, quality, variety, and scarcity are really what contributes to our customers finding a value and really scoring a bargain at Ross. So price is the number one most important factor to our customer. Customers trust that they'll always get a great deal at Ross. Our whole company is built upon passing savings along to our customer, and that's why our store experience has no frills, and our merchants have a laser focus on making sure we have the best values. They really are master negotiators. But price alone is not enough. So quality is also very important to our customers. Price and quality together turn our great prices into great values. So brands play a really big part in that. Do we have the right brands that indicate quality to the customer is the question that buyers are always asking. Our customer also likes to touch and feel the products to get a sense of quality. So they test the zipper in jeans, they feel the weight of a pan, or the fabric of sheets that they're purchasing. The next part of the equation is variety. So our customers love the breadth of styles and sizes we offer, especially because we have many options that fit in her budget. Our customer expects to see new items in the store each time she visits. And she also appreciates that we really have so many different categories. So she often comes in for one thing and finds something completely unexpected in another category. So that really contributes to the variety part of the equation. And then finally, scarcity. So while we do have a wide breadth of our assortment, we don't have a lot of depth. So we keep our inventory very lean, and it kind of creates a sense of urgency. So this really, customers know that if they don't buy a product right then and there, they likely won't find it the next time they come back to a Ross. So all of these factors really contribute to our value equation and collectively add up to our purpose of delivering great branded bargains every day to our customers. So a bit more about our two chains that we operate. So Ross Dress for Less is the larger of the two chains. It was founded back in 1982. We have over 1,600 stores in 40 states currently. And then our dd's chain is a bit newer. It was founded back in 2004. And it was really open to service a different customer demographic that we weren't quite reaching with our Ross stores. Currently, we have 266 stores in 20 states for our dd's locations. So here's a store map of where all of our stores are located. So Ross is the blue dots and dd's is the pink. We have the most of our Ross and dd's stores in California. That is where we were founded. We really moved our way across the Sun Belt to Texas and Florida. And then we moved our way up west. And currently we're really infiltrating the Midwest region. So right now we're really trying to infiltrate and further penetrate markets that we already know work for us. We're definitely continuing to open stores. And like I mentioned earlier, we have a goal to reach 3,000 total stores between Ross and dd's in the next coming years. So just a bit more about the customer demographics between Ross and dd's. There are some differences there. So Ross, the Ross customer is usually female. She's shopping for herself or other family members. And there's a wide range of incomes of this customer. So some want a bargain and others need a bargain and need to stretch their dollar. Brands are really important to this customer. So she wants to see the same brands on the floor that she might see at a department store, but she sees them at Ross for a lower price point. And then our dd's customer is typically a bit younger and usually has a more moderate income. So the average price points of our dd's merchandise is a bit lower. And brands are not as important to this customer, but trends are really important. So that's the value that our dd's customer is finding in the product, is the trend piece. And both customers visit the store approximately 2 to 3 times a month. And this is due to our quick inventory turnover, like I discussed earlier. We're constantly putting new merchandise on the floor, and our customers know that, and they know every time they come to a Ross or dd's, they'll find new merchandise on the floor. So diving into our diversity, equality, and inclusion initiatives. So DE&I is a company initiative that we're really proud to share with you today. We know that a more diverse workforce helps drive company growth and development, and we want all of our associates and candidates to feel welcomed and included in our work environment. In support of these goals, I just wanted to highlight a few items that we are proud of. So in 2020, people of color comprised 77% of the Ross workforce, and women account for 80%. Noteworthy is that our CEO, along with the majority of our senior leaders, identify as female. And this diverse workforce spans across various levels, locations, and job functions within the organization. Also, Ross is committed to supporting the U.S. Armed Services and our veteran community by hiring and developing both active servicemen and women, as well as veterans, through our military recruiting program. And many of the charitable partners that we select to work with benefit and focus their efforts towards helping minority groups. We offer benefit coverage to same-sex domestic partners. And finally, we provide mandatory training to associates on conducting business ethically and really maintaining a safe and harassment-free workplace. Of course, we recognize that more can be done as an organization, which is why I'm really excited to share that we are further committed to creating a diverse and inclusive environment. Back in 2019, we hired a VP of DE&I to really head these efforts at Ross, and we've since grown the team exponentially. So a bit more just about supporting our associates and other ways that we've really contributed to these initiatives and efforts. So we have implemented a DE&I portal, which was really created as a central location to follow news, updates, observances, and celebrations, and it's open to everyone in our organization. It also includes a DE&I development page with a lot of resources to expand our cultural awareness, knowledge, and communication. We've also launched community networks between last year and this year, which is something that we are all really, really excited about. So we launched the Black at Ross, Ross Pride, Latinx Connect, and Inspiration, which is the Asian and Pacific Islander community networks throughout 2020 and 2021. So we're continuing to launch more and are in the works of doing that currently. And each is spearheaded by leaders and a sponsor, and there's been a lot of business involvement, a lot of Ross associates really getting involved in the community networks. We've also implemented a diversity day, which is an additional paid holiday in order to celebrate different commemorative observances that are important to each one of us. And also we have celebrated many commemorative observances such as Juneteenth, LGBTQ+ Pride Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, Black History Month, Global Diversity Awareness Month, and Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We've also donated to the cause. So we have donated to NAACP as well as the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And Boys and Girls Club and First Book Club are actually two of the organizations that we work with with our charitable giving initiatives. So we have, yes, donated money, but we've also dedicated a lot of time and hosted various events with both of these organizations as well. So a bit about our corporate structure and our buying offices. So our corporate headquarters are located in Dublin, California, and essentially that's where a lot of our structural and more foundational teams sit. So that's where our finance team sits, allocation, legal, teams that really keep our organization running. And then we have 3 buying offices, which is kind of the heartbeat of the organization. We have one located in New York, right in the garment district. We have one in Los Angeles, also in the garment district in LA. And then we have a very small buying office in Boston. So essentially the reason why we have our buying offices located where they are is really due to our vendor base. So this is where most of our vendors are located. So this really helps to, create and maintain vendor relationships between the buyers and our big vendors. So now we'll dive into buying a little bit. So buying is really a big part of, how we find values and how we really deliver those values to our customer. So it is kind of a 50-50 balance between the product side and the analytical side. So the product side really involves working with vendors to ensure a correct assortment, negotiating with vendors to really make sure we get those good price points and those good values for our customer, researching lots of different trends. And then the analytical piece really involves analyzing financials, which helps us to decide what our assortment will look like. So a typical week for a buyer usually involves analyzing reports on Mondays. So this is a big day for looking at the numbers, kind of looking to see what's working and what's not working within our assortment, understanding kind of from a numbers perspective, what our customer likes and what they're not liking. It really gives us insight into the customer, and it's a really important part of our buying organization in order to, continue growing the business, continue growing sales. Tuesday through Thursday, buyers are usually in the market and meeting with vendors. So they are, working with vendors to ensure our correct assortments. They're really looking at products. They're really hands-on with product during these vendor appointments. In addition to that, like I mentioned before, it's really important to cultivate vendor relationships as well. So schmoozing is something that our buyers are always doing at the beginning of vendor meetings. And this is really just to kind of create a personal relationship with vendors before diving into the business piece. It is such a big part of our organization, and it's such a big part of the way that we get really good deals. So schmoozing is a very important part of keeping those vendor relationships. And then Fridays, they're kind of just wrapping up the week, tying up loose ends, kind of looking to see how everything sold through during the week. And then they're also comp shopping, which is competitive shopping. So comp shopping is also a really big part of what the buyers are doing on a daily basis. Essentially, this is a way for buyers to look at competitors, aspirational retailers, as well as department stores to really see what else is out there. At competitors, they're really looking at their assortment, kind of looking for new vendors that we might not work with already. And they're also looking at price points. So they're really making sure that we are staying competitive in our price points and we're really staying sharp there. In terms of aspirational and department stores, they're really looking at those for more understanding trends and kind of seeing what those stores are selling and what might work in our assortment and what might work for our customer. Buyers are also constantly researching different trends. So they're looking at social media, they're looking at different trend sites, and they're also working with our fashion office, which is a trend forecasting team that really helps us determine what's new, what's next, and how that can really kind of be worked into our assortments and what can really work for our customer. It's also really important to separate personal style from customer taste. Those might not always align, and it's important to really genuinely understand the consumer. And then finally, being a student of the business. So I've mentioned it a few times, but really understanding the customer is of utmost importance at Ross and in really any retail company. It's also about keeping up with industry news, knowing what's going on out there, knowing what's going on in the industry in order to be able to constantly keep learning and evolving as different environments and situations evolve in the industry. So the career path at Ross on both the buying and the planning side is very clearly defined. We really believe in growing our own. So at the entry level, that's the assistant buyer one position, it's really a learning role. That's where they're learning and building a foundation, all about the different skills that merchants use at Ross, understanding the different reports that we run and ways that we analyze data, and understanding who our vendor base is and kind of learning how we interact with vendors. At the assistant buyer two level, it's really more applying. So they're really starting to apply all the knowledge they learned in that assistant buyer one position, and really creating vendor relationships on their own, learning how to kind of actually apply a lot of the reports that they are running, and so on and so forth. The associate buyer level is a bit more ownership. So they really start to own a piece of the business from beginning to end, and they start negotiating themselves. And then a buyer is really, they own multiple businesses and multiple product classes within an assortment, and kind of, from beginning to end are running the show. And they also have associates reporting into them. So that's really where the management and leading piece comes into play. And then the divisional merchandising manager, again, really just growing more responsibility over more product categories, as well as having more direct reports. So that's all about buying. And now let's dive into planning a little bit. So planning is really more of the analytical side. So it's 100% analytical and really working with data to ultimately make sure that all of our products are in the right stores at the right price at the right time of year. So it's really important that we're constantly looking at our data, looking at our financial plans to maximize opportunity and minimize risk. So now we'll get into a bit about what preseason planning is and what in-season planning is. So preseason planning is really when planners are looking at last year and 2 years ago to ultimately decide how each class will flow throughout the season, and they're building plans at a month-to-month level. So there are 2 seasons, fall and spring. So during the fall season, currently, they're now looking at spring. And then in-season planning is really when they're analyzing what's going on within the current season. So they're analyzing 60-day trend and performance by region. And then this is really where they're increasing or decreasing plans where necessary. So something that's really unique to off-price is the fact that we can react within the season. We are doing in-season trending, and essentially we're seeing if our plans are matching up to what's actualizing across the company and across product categories. So we are able to kind of look at what's going on within the data and shift money from poorer performing regions to stronger performing ones, which really allows us to chase sales when business is good and pull back when it's not. So again, this is really unique to off-price because we do have that flexibility. We're not stuck with our plans for the whole season, even if something's not working for us. We're really able to change things quickly and again, which really allows us to maximize opportunity and minimize any risk. So the planning piece of our organization is really important, and buyers and planners are constantly working together to make sure we're continuing to grow the business. And then our planning career path, again, really defined. So our location planner one position is the entry level role. And this is, again, really a learning role. They're building the foundations of understanding what location planning is, understanding what we look at and different metrics that we look at, understanding the reports that we run and how we really look at that data to make decisions. At the location planner 2 level, that's really where they're starting to apply. So they are actually starting to make their own recommendations, their own call outs, and finding, data within the data and really creating a story out of the numbers in order to make those suggestions and recommendations to senior management. At that point, location planners will kind of go through a bridge program to kind of bridge the gap over to our chain side of planning. So it's a little bit different. The chain planning is a bit more top-down planning. So they're looking at larger numbers and overall numbers as it relates to product. So then they would kind of become an assistant associate planning analyst and would be an assistant to their planner. So they're starting to kind of relearn that position. At the planner level, they're really owning development of seasonal plans. They're partnering with buyers and merchants a lot. Again, really making sure that the collaboration is there and the open line of communication is there in order to allocate a certain amount of money towards each product category. And then the management level. So really learning to lead. And at this level, planners can either stay on the chain side and become a chain manager, or they can go back to the location side. So it gives a little bit of flexibility in what a planner is really more interested in pursuing. Okay, so a bit about our summer internship program. So this summer, it's going to be between an 8 and a 10-week program, and it's likely going to be hybrid. We have 130 total interns across our New York and our Los Angeles buying offices. It's a paid internship program. There's a lot of training classes, and there's also a buddy system. So each intern is assigned to a specific team. We'll have a manager and a buddy within that team. So the manager is kind of the intern's trainer and really makes sure they can get acclimated to the Ross culture and ultimately get acclimated to the team. And then the buddy is somebody who's more at the peer level. So kind of the intern's go-to person in the office, really there to help train the intern as well, and is there for a lot of shadowing opportunities. It's very, very structured. So each intern gets their own orientation calendar, and then it's really a hands-on internship. So interns are kind of learning throughout the first half of the internship in a lot of different training classes involving Ross, our business model, learning about all the different systems that we use and the reports that we run, essentially just how we really do business. And then the rest of the summer is really applying everything they learned in that first half of the internship to real work. So they're essentially up and running as an entry-level associate by the end of the internship. There's a lot of real exposure across the company. So interns are really getting exposure to many different areas that we have across the company, not just what they're currently hired to do. There's also a lot of team building opportunities. So interns really do get to know one another and really get to network with each other as well. So some benefits of working at Ross kind of from a more full-time perspective. So we have health benefits, medical, dental, and vision. We have a 401k plan with a company match. We also have an employee stock purchase program where associates can purchase Ross stock at a 15% discount. There's bonus potential at entry level, which is a pretty unique offering for an entry level role within retail. We have a generous vacation policy, and we also close the office between Christmas and New Year's, which is a really nice perk. And we also have summer Fridays. So the office closes at 1 p.m. every Friday between Memorial Day and Labor Day, which is also a really nice perk. We have an 8-week onboarding training process for every new associate who begins with us. And essentially, this is really just to make sure associates are given the tools they need to understand what the role is that they are hired to do, and really gives them some time to get acclimated and time to get involved in the work before just diving right in. And then finally, career growth. So that 8-week onboarding process really contributes to this. Our career growth is something that's super important to us, and really growing our own is a philosophy that we truly live by. We have a team specifically dedicated to making sure associates are given the tools they need to really succeed at each level of their career. So not just at the beginning, not just those beginning 8 weeks. Our associates are constantly learning and evolving in order to really be promoted throughout the ranks and to really grow throughout the company. And a fun fact, actually, so our CEO is, she started at Ross in the 1980s, and she started as a buyer and has been promoted through the ranks. So she really kind of exhibits our grow our own strategy and our philosophy. And it's something that's very important to our company culture. Okay, so we are hiring currently. We are hiring assistant buyer interns as well as full-time entry-level associates. So interns are anyone graduating August 2022 through May 2023. And then full-time associates are anyone who's graduating this December and through May 2022. And these roles are located in New York City and Los Angeles. And then we're also hiring assistant planners. So assistant planner interns are August 2022 through May 2023 grads, like I mentioned earlier, as well as full-time associates are December 2021 through May 2022 grads. These positions are only located in New York City. So thank you everyone for listening to me today. It's been such a pleasure, telling you a bit more about Ross, a bit more about the roles that we offer. If you're interested or have any questions, please feel free to contact me. And that's my email right there. Thanks so much.